Let's create our configuration file. It's a place where we're going to keep all the data to control our application. Okay, so here we're gonna put some settings important for runtime of our application. Now, first would be the drone. We will have 3 sections. The one would be drone, that's regarding our application itself. Then we will have cloud app, that's the data related to our cloud panel. And video section, that's the section that controls the the video output, like the quality of the video, the frames per second, is it grayscale or color, and width and height of the frame. Okay, good. Now we need to access it. Let's do it beautifully. How we're gonna do it is well, our file, we will construct the string that is the full path to our file, which obviously consists of application directory where our application is deployed and the name of the file that we just created here. See? Okay. So also regarding logging, you see the way it's done right now is whenever you start your application, you will have new file, but you can tweak it. If you remove the string, actually this string is what makes every time new file, because whenever you start it, it will have this would be change every single time you start it, and hence you will have new file. But you can tweak the way you name your file if you don't want it. But I find it convenient every time I fly, so every time I start a Raspberry Pi, I'll have new file with logs that relate only to certain fly. Okay, so we will use config parser object. All right, it's okay, it's this one, and we go ahead and create one. Then we need to make sure that once we read it, we actually access this file. So what I mean by that, once you read configuration, which is this string, you will get the list of accessible objects. If it's length 0, it means that we did not manage to read this file. Then there is really no reason to leave, right? So we will log error that we could not read this file, and we will exit. Yeah, by the way, we need also to import this thing. Okay, but let's assume, let's go happy path, that we actually managed to read it. Once we read it, we will extract certain we will extract pretty much everything from this file, right? So we'll get the drone ID. That's how you extract it. Once it's read it, it parses data, and you can access it in this way. You see config, that's the config object that we created, and drone ID. You see drone, it's this section, and the ID is let's actually split it so it would be a little bit better visible. You see? Then cloud app section, here we get IP address. Now here we get video port, and we so we make it an integer, because it would be by default, it would be string. And then we go ahead and read pretty much every other setting from this configuration file that we've created. All right. And to be sure that all of that works, let's log it and see that it's actually happening, but not here, of course. We'll log it somewhere over here. All right. Okay, so let's now go ahead and deploy our application. Not that. That's our cloud panel. We want a Raspberry Pi application to deploy. Okay. Then we SSH into it, and let's run it. Python 3 application. Okay, you see, it logged it. It managed to read all we had here. You see. The quality 80, the frames, and the video recipient IP address that we specified here, and the drone ID itself. Good. Now let's make sure that we have also log files. Okay, main app, and in log files we see all. Great. And now one thing that I want to make sure also is if we have wrong configuration file here, for instance something that does not exist, and in this case we should get an error. Let's make sure that this happens, and now we run it again. Fantastic. You see, error, could not read configurations file, blah blah blah. And if we go here, logs, we will have this log, and there you go, errors. Fantastic. Now we have configurations file